take my hat off or keep it on?
It's up to you. I think you look good the way you are.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Hats
it's not
make
too
the
much of a
man.
shadow or whatever.
Okay, now I'm gonna shut the door so none of the outside interference comes, and you guys talk for as little or as long as you want. Just hang on to that.
Okay, yeah, we will.
All right. So first one is your name to spell it and your first name, middle initial, last name.
Well, which one do you want first?
Just to spell them all out, I think.
Spell the last name, please.
Yes. Spell your last name.
Yeah. Okay. Markway.
Okay. And what's your first name?
Harold. Harld.
Oh. And middle initial?
F.
All right. What year were you born?
I was born on the 9th of October 1925.
Where did you live when you became part of the military? Where did you live when you became part of the military?
Well, I lived in Wardsville, Missouri.
All right. What branch of the service were you in?
Navy.
Navy.
How did you get into the service? Were you volunteered or drafted?
I was drafted.
Mm.
If you want to go into a little bit of the story, I was actually, I was told to come in April of '44, and I did. My mom wanted me to stay home, and I worked on a farm, so I got a deferment for 6 months.
Gotcha. All right. When did you first start your service?
In October of 1944.
Right.
Where was basic?
And my basic was in our boot camp in Farragut, Idaho.
Where were you sent after basic for your advanced training?
Well, after I got out of there, I was assigned to a brand new destroyer, and so we went to San Francisco for some firefighting schools and gas mask and whatever would happen on the ship or whatever would happen to you, so you know what to do. And firefighting was one of the big problems, and we've done that. So I took all kind of classes there in a short time.
Mm-hmm.
What was your job when you began military service?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my job was I was assigned to the ship, and I was a seaman for first class or second class rather, and I was a deckhand. I've done me and several other ones done all the cleaning of the decks and kept them painted and all that, and the walls, which bulkheads was called in the Navy, and we had to take care of that and see it was all clean, and it had to be clean too.
Mm-hmm. All right. Where did you begin military service after advanced training?
Well, I kind of just said it. Yeah. Well, I was assigned to the USS Rowan DD 782.
All right.
And if you want to go into a little history on that, the Rowan that was the 405 was torpedoed by a German ship and sank and lost over 100 boys on it, around 200 actually, they said. It went down in 15 minutes after they torpedoed it.
Did you stay off the coast of California most of the time? Or?
Well, I was coast of California for my boot training, for my going over finding out the ship, and then after we got out assigned to the ship, and we took out the Navy port up in Washington State and Seattle area, and then we went down to San Diego, and we went on what they call a shakedown cruise. And we went out and on this shakedown cruise, and every day we had some kind of a training, or we'd done everything on the ship. We fired I was assigned to no gun particular, but we learned how to operate if we had to, a 5-inch. Not that many of us did, but some did. And then the 20 millimeters and the 40 millimeters, we used them, make sure we could knew a little bit about them before they, you know, after we was going overseas, before we was going overseas. I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was happening in the world when you were in the military?
Well, it was World War II was going on, and I don't know what else. I mean, rationing and everything. Everything was connected with World War II, though.
Yeah. How long did you serve in the military?
Went in October of '44 and got out in June of '46. Not quite 2 years.
What was the reason for you to get out?
For me to go, I was drafted into the Navy. There was, if you want to go in a little history of that, there was 28 of us left Jeff City on a bus to go down to St. Louis to Jefferson Barracks, I guess it's going to be, and went for the examination. And out of the whole group, I don't know how many exactly passed, but 4 of us was assigned to go to the Navy. And when I was on the bus going to St. Louis, I heard all the boys, not all of them, but quite a few say, I'm going to the Navy. I'd like to get in the Navy. I'm going to ask for the Navy. And I know one boy said, well, I'll not ask for the Navy because I can walk further than I can swim. But anyway, I asked for the Navy, and to this day, I have no idea why I got the Navy, but there was 4 of us did, and so, because I know a whole bunch of them were asking for it, but they didn't get assigned. And like I said, I don't have no idea why I got assigned to it.
So did you guys have no say in what you wanted to go into? They picked for you?
What's that?
Did you have any say into what branch you wanted to go into?
Well, no, you didn't have any say at all.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you could ask for something, but you could ask for the Marines if you wanted to. And I don't know if any went to the Marines out of the 28, but I know the 4 of us got to the Navy. And when we went to Farragut, Idaho for boot training, one of the boys out of the 4 didn't pass the Navy test, and they sent him back home. And he was really kind of sad that he got sent back home, but then, I mean, he didn't pass the examination, so that's why they sent him. But the 3 of us stayed there.
All right.
Where was your ship heading when you were, where were you going? What was your ship's assignment at the time?
Well, when we got through with all the stuff down in San Diego, our complete training time, we were assigned to come back, and we went to Washington State, and they put our ship in dry dock and went over it and cleaned and checked everything out, and we took a little short leave, and a week or 2, and I got to go home back to Jeff City, but the travel time was all by train. And by the time I got to Jeff City, I spent about a day and a half or 2 days in home, and then I had to go back to Farragut, to Seattle, Washington. So a lot of the boys that was, I don't say a lot, but some of the boys that had to go back all the way to the East Coast just stayed in there, just around there.
What kind of engagements did you remember that your ship was in?
What's that?
What kind of engagements or battles was your ship in?
Actually, rumors were aboard ship, which rumors is, that was a main thing, and you didn't believe everything you heard, but anyway, we were supposed to go to some island over there and bombard them, and well, about that time, we didn't know it, but they know that the atomic bomb was going to be brought in, and they it didn't say we didn't go to that island. We didn't have to, but when we were sailing out on that destroyer, we had that, when we got over close to Japan, at night, we turned every light out, and we were in the dark on the outside, but the ship was made, and I think all of them were made, that you never had to open a hatch, a door to get anywhere. You could go on all over the ship and stay right on the inside, because you didn't, you open the door, there might be a little light shine or something. So if you didn't open the, well, we call them hatches, you didn't open the hatch.
So were you trying to stay hidden the whole time?
What's that?
The ship was trying to stay hidden?
Well, no, we were out there, but at night, you know,
At
sailing
night.
around there, well, a lot of you can't imagine or know or how to figure it out, that there is so much water out there and so much area you can cover with, because what is, I don't know what the percentage is, but of land compared to water in the oceans, all the oceans in the world.
What do you remember most about your time in service?
What I remember most? Well, that could be a kind of a long story. Anyway, when we left the United States here to go over to Japan, we stopped in Honolulu for a while and took training there. We kept you trained there most every day, some kind of a training. And then when we got to Okinawa, the war, when we come in there, it just invaded Okinawa, and we didn't get in on the invasion, but right after we were there, and then they had a typhoon come in, and I know they announced over the speakers, get out of get to sea, you're not in, don't stay in this harbor. And we went to sea, and well, we kidded about it. We should have had submarine play, because that ship was underwater when it was on top.
Oh, wow.
And we took they said it was a 45-degree row, and some guy was up in the by where the steering is, the pilot house. He said it was a 47-degree roll. But anyway, we took a lot of pretty good rolls, I know that. We could not eat at any kind of a liquid, because we couldn't cook, and you just kind of ate dry stuff. And most of the sailors were so sick they didn't care whether they ate or not. I mean, it was rough and bouncing around like that.
That's crazy.
Yep.
What qualities did you carry from the military to where you are today? What qualities did you take from the military, and do you still have with you today?
Well, just what I've often said this, that I learned more than almost in 2 years I was in the Navy, and I learned all the while I was in the last years of grade school and 2 years of high school. Yeah, I mean, I didn't learn it in the sense of book learning, but it was what went on and how to get along with everybody and seeing the world, just being out there. So it was quite an experience for a young kid. That's all of us were, not every one of us, but most of us aboard the ship were just 18 to 22 and something in that area. Outside the officers were a little older.
So you were on your way to invade Japan, and they dropped the atomic bomb.
Well,
How do you feel about, or what's your story on that?
Well, we were over there for the invasion of Japan, and then, like I said a little bit ago, we got that note to go to some island and bombard it, but we didn't go. And so a few days later we found out why we didn't go, because they was going to drop the atomic bomb there, and I never I wasn't where I could see it dropped or anything, but we were in the area, because that's what we were over there for, was invasion, and invasion was gonna be on November the 5th, if I remember the right date, and this was, August, August or something like that. Yeah, September and August in that area. But anyway, since when they dropped the atomic bomb, that ended our having to invade, and that saved, it killed a lot of Japanese, and I have not very many people, a few people have said to me, he said, well, that was not right, dropping that atomic bomb in them 2 cities, and then killing all the kids and women and everything, and it did. I mean, I don't know how many lost, but how many we will lose, how many of us guys would have been going to if we had to invade, because they wasn't going to give up easy, because they dropped the first atomic bomb, and then they told them that they'd better surrender, or we'd drop another one, and they just kept on, and so they just dropped the second one, and that ended. And that was, I mean, you know, there's a lot of stories about when over there, when the Japanese, when we went into where they, and I got pictures to show you after a bit, but we went into where they dropped the atomic bombs, and it was nothing there, so a smaller, not a smaller town, but a closer town to them, not very far away. When I went there, after the war, and went there, and then people there were starving. They'd come up and get behind you and want soap and candy bars and all the thing. When we didn't have much time on there, but we did go Sasebo, and we did go to walk there and had a little leave there where we could look around. And then when we went where they dropped both atomic bombs, and that was not too long after the war ended, and we were there, and I didn't see any people except for one, like a warehouse right by the water there where we tied it, where we had anchored the ship, and I opened the door, and the Jap jumped back and stared at me, and the smell came out of there so bad I wouldn't have went in there, but I wouldn't went in anyway, because the Japanese hadn't got acquainted with too many sailors or any soldiers then yet, so they were scared, and anyway, but getting back to Sasebo, when that was not hit by atomic bombs, but it was busted down to nothing, where they had no restrooms or anything to use, and they didn't have no food, and so that's what I said a bit ago. They followed us around and wanting candy bars or soap or anything we could get, and their money wasn't worth anything. In fact, I think in my pack here I got some Japanese money. And later on then they made the Japanese money available and worth something. And I know some of the guys that had collected some of it, checked it in, and got American money for it, because they let the Japanese money get back on the market.
Yeah. What are your most enduring memories of your time with surface?
Well, that's pretty hard to say, but one of the occasions what I talked about was a hurricane, or now I can't even say that.
Typhoon.
Hmm?
Typhoon.
No, it was a typhoon, but it was in that island that I named a while ago, but it don't come to me now for some reason. Okinawa. Yeah. And so that was one of the things. And like I said, when they got us out of that port, and then we had them 3-4 days of bouncing around out there, and then we like I said, we couldn't had nothing to eat that, but you didn't have much to want to eat anyway, but anyway, that was quite an experience, and it wasn't fun, but it was an experience, I'll say that. And then, seeing where they dropped the atomic bomb was quite a thing. Myself, I liked the Navy and I liked the ship I was on, but when I got a chance to go home, I went again. Yeah. But anyway, that's, I don't know, they're just a lot of things, and like I said earlier, I learned more than in almost 2 years I was in the Navy, and I learned all in high school, or in 2 years in high school, or in the last years in grade school, I think. We learned a lot about what went on in the world, and what could happen and what did happen and things like that. So.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions that we have on the sheet. Is there anything else that we want to ask?
Yep.
Well, I mean, that, in a nutshell, that covers all the main things I've done. Like I said, of both places we dropped the atomic bomb, and not long afterwards, and the typhoon and the training and all that kind of stuff. And I know when down in San Diego, when we was up to call on the shakedown cruise, that's where we took the ship out, and we tried all the equipment, and each one of us had a chance to use the equipment. I was down on the second deck, and they dropped one of them death charges or whatever. It fell off. We just rolled off the back of our ship, and you could use it to sink submarines or whatever underwater stuff. And anyway, they dropped one, and man, it went off and busted the light out of the right above us there, and anyway, that was kind of a different kind of experience when they dropped them, and they rolled them off the end of the ship and dropped them death charges.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for letting us interview you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess that's about it.
Yeah.
But I did bring, if you have time, I did bring some pictures of where the atomic bomb was dropped, and if you would like to look at them.
Yeah, I love this.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think he can clip it, so. Mm-hmm. Do you know where he has his pictures? Because I'd like to see them.
I can tell you the story on that dog. Here's,
Oh.
that's after they dropped the bomb. And this is a ship.
Why don't you,
That's what he looked like when he was 19 years old.
I was going to say, Mr. Markway, why don't you point to some of these pictures and tell us what they mean?
Well, there's not too much I can say outside of that. That's where the atomic bomb was dropped, and we went in there. I was on a small ship, a destroyer, and we went in there and anchored, and the captain let so many go over the time. At each, on both islands, both locations, and we'd get over there and just walk around for 15 to 20 minutes, and then they'd pick us. We had to be back aboard ship so the next boys could go over and look around. And anyway, and I was in both places that they dropped the atomic bomb, not too long after they dropped it. Because there wasn't any, well, told that earlier, there wasn't any people around, and I walked open that door to that warehouse, and that jumped back and looked at me, and it stinks so bad I didn't go in, but they had little fires in there. It was kind of cool at that time. And I don't know what they got found to eat, but they had something, I guess, because they was staying there. I don't know how many was in there, but I know there was a few of them in there. But when we got off the ship and went into where the atomic bomb was dropped, there was nobody around. There was nothing. There was no. I didn't see any bodies either, but there was no people there. And I know I talked to a guy that said, "Oh, I was over and I drove a Jeep down the street." Well, when I was there, you wouldn't have drove no Jeep down the street because streets were littered with just what they looked pictures of.
And what about the ship up by your right hand? Is that the ship you were on, that destroyer?
Destroyer.
And that was the what, USS?
Rowan.
Do you remember the number? 782?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just told them a while ago, the 405, what our ship was named after, the 405 was hit by a Japanese, German submarine, and they sank it, and there's around 200 boys went down with it, because it didn't last but about 15 minutes to sink it. And I know I went to a reunion where a few of them that did survive it were there. But I think it's close to 200 young boys like me who went down with that thing. And I'm sure there's other ones just as bad too.
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to turn this off.